Hello Year 10 and welcome to today's lesson. Before we start, what I would like you to do is have a look at the Do Now questions. There are 5 of them. Can you work your way through answering them? For question 2, you can see that there is an image on the right hand side. You will need to remember that. It's the cycle of deprivation. We looked at that in one of our previous lessons with Mrs. Shaw. So could you please pause the PowerPoint now and work through the 5 questions? Right, thank you very much for everybody having a go at trying to complete that. I'm just going to go through the answers. Question 1, what is social deprivation? Well, social deprivation is lack of access to basic services. Question 2 required you to fill in the missing blanks from the cycle of deprivation, which was on the right hand side there. The first one was poverty. B was poor education. And C was poor living conditions. Question 3, you might have your own answers for this, but the 3 that I've chosen for the multiple deprivation index are income, crime and education, but you might have something like healthcare there as another example. Question 4, when did deindustrialisation occur within Manchester? That was after World War II. And the last question, question 5, says give a definition for the term green belt. Green belt land is land which has previously not been built on, usually around the edge of cities. What I'd like you to do, please, everybody, if you've got any corrections to make, can you do those now, all right, before we look at today's lesson? So what we're going to look at in today's lesson is the regeneration of an area called East Manchester. And the learning objective for today is to understand how East Manchester reversed the social, economic and environmental decline of the area. I want you to have a look at the 2 images below. Now, unfortunately, due to restrictions at the moment, we've not had the opportunity to go and visit East Manchester, which we should have been doing. Some of you may have been before, as you can see in the image on the right hand side there. That's the Etihad Stadium, home to Manchester City Football Club. And you can see on the left there that we've got a mill where cotton is being spun. I just want you to have a think, okay, why those 2 pictures are so relevant in today's lesson and what has happened to East Manchester over the past 100 years. Think about that word or that term, urban change, something which we've looked at quite frequently over the past few lessons. So just pause now and have a quick think about what I've just said. So the first task that I'd like you to do today is have a go at trying to crack the code, which will give us the definition for the term regeneration. All you need to do is write out the sentence, looking at the images to try and fill in any of the missing words. Can you please do this into your book or on paper if you don't have that? So please can you just check that you have the right answers down. I'll just read it out and just quickly go through what we mean by that term. Regeneration is a set of activities that reverse economic, social and physical decline. Right, when we think about economic, we talk about industry, we talk about money, business, jobs. They all play a really important part in the economy of a local area. When we think about social, we think about things that benefit people. Right, that might be hospitals, it could be schools. When we talk about physical decline, we look at the aesthetics of an area. We might think about that term dereliction. We might look at improving houses for people. We may even add green spaces like we've done in areas like Oxford Road. The idea behind regeneration, very simply, is that we improve an area and we improve it by looking at those 3 different factors below. There are lots of areas that have been regenerated within Manchester. Salford Quays is another example, but as I say, we're going to focus today on East Manchester. So if you look at the next slide now, we'll start to have an understanding of whereabouts East Manchester is in relation to Manchester City Centre. So you just have a look at the 4 images that I've chosen below. I've chosen a variety of different images. We've got some maps, we've got some photographs, we've got some sketches, and we've also got a digital image that's been created there of East Manchester. And the idea behind these 4 images is to give an understanding of where it is located within Manchester. Well, if we look at the first map, we can see there's a red box around the area of East Manchester, and it's about a mile from the city centre. If we look then further on the right at the photograph, the aerial photograph that was taken, it gives an understanding of some of the facilities that are there. We can quite clearly see the Etihad Stadium that was once the Commonwealth Games Stadium back in 2002. Next to that, we've got a running track, and you can see just to the east of there, the velodrome. Home to Team Sky cycling team, but also British cycling. Lots of races around the velodrome. We've also got Princess's Park just to the north of there, the green space. And we've also got businesses, large businesses like Asda and Decathlon. The largest Asda in Europe is situated in East Manchester, and it provides people with over 500 jobs within the local area. If we have a look further south, if we have a look below at the image which has been drawn, which shows some of the areas like Ardwick, Beswick, Miles Platin. These are areas within East Manchester. You can see just on that map as well, if you look closely, that the Etihad Stadium has been drawn on there as well. We can see that the tram now runs through East Manchester, and you can see the tram moving its way through into the city centre. A really important part of the regeneration scheme that took place there, because it allowed people to live in East Manchester and commute into the city centre for things like jobs and entertainment, socialising. Again, the last image, which is the computer drawing in the bottom right hand corner, it just shows us again some of the facilities which are available to people. When we think about that reversing social decline, we've got the Connell College, which has been built. We've also got a school that's now there. People have access to things like Phillips Park. They have access to the velodrome. There are lots of facilities available for people within East Manchester. So just take a minute just to have a look at the 4 different images which have been provided, just to familiarise yourself with the location, but also what is there today. Now we know where East Manchester is located. What I've provided you with below is a timeline and some images to show the change that East Manchester has gone through. Now, you'll have looked at some of these terms in the last few lessons that Mrs. Shaw has done. The term industrialisation. If you have a look below there, you can see 3 images taken from East Manchester. It was a very, very prosperous place with lots of industry, mainly cotton, where we would take the product and turn it into things like textiles to be sold within Manchester and across the UK. The population was significantly high because of the jobs that were available to people within the factories. Moving on from there, we then saw deindustrialisation, the closing down of factories after World War II. Many of the industries that were in East Manchester, they moved to areas like India and China in East Asia. Cheaper labour, the improvement in transport meant that it was easier to have products taken over to countries like India and China, made and then transported back. And because of that, the area in East Manchester fell into decline, and we saw derelict buildings like you can see in the images below. The population began to decline because people moved out of the area. There was very little for them to do. And in turn, we saw an increase in things like crime, in job unemployment. And because of that, we would describe East Manchester as a deprived area. If you look at the 3rd image, regeneration, past 1990, we can see a completely different area. We can see that because of this regeneration project, that we've got things like Asda and Decathlon. We've got Manchester City Stadium that has been built after the Commonwealth Games. We've got improved housing for people. And we've also got other facilities, things like Prince Philip's Park and also the velodrome. Now, what I'd like you to do, just using the images and also what I've just said, I'd like you to just describe the change that East Manchester has gone through over the past 200 years. Very simply, just tell me through the images what you can see. Pause now and have a quick go at completing that task. So now that we understand the urban change that East Manchester went through, what we're now going to do is focus solely on the regeneration project. Now, there are 3 tasks that I would like you to choose from. You're only going to complete 1 task, but there are 3 below. To find out about what happened to East Manchester once the regeneration project took place. The first task that you could choose to do is use the cards which are on page 9 of the PowerPoint to create a timeline of the events leading up to the regeneration of East Manchester and how the area was regenerated. You just need to put those dates into order, and you could also summarise the information that's found on each card. Another task that you could choose to do is use the information on page 10 of the PowerPoint to create a poster outlining what it was like before the regeneration and what East Manchester is like today. The last task is to combine the information on page 9 and page 10 of the PowerPoint to create a leaflet. Now this must contain both images and extended writing, and this is going to go to Manchester Council on how East Manchester has regenerated since the Industrial Revolution. So you can choose on there. As you can see, the tasks become more challenging as you go through. You only need to complete one of them. The information for both of those tasks are found on page 9 or page 10. So make a choice now and have a look at how you can complete it by reading the information on the PowerPoint slide that is relevant to you. Thank you very much everybody for completing today's lesson. What I would also like you to do once you have completed it is to have a go at the quick quiz, which has also been uploaded to Google Classrooms for you. Can you make sure please that you submit that to your teacher so that we can get a further understanding of what you've found out within today's lesson. Thank you very much everybody. Bye bye.